So, most of us have probably heard of the 7 habits of highly effective people, right? It was this incredible roadmap for personal success. But what comes after you're effective? Well, according to Stephen Covey, the next level is greatness. And that's the journey we're going to explore today with his 8th habit. Now, to really get the 8th habit, we have to start with a feeling Covey calls the pain. It's this widespread sense of frustration that he found affects millions and millions of people. Let's see if any of this sounds familiar to you. First up, there's this feeling. You know it. Being stuck in a rut. Just putting in the time. It's that moment your work stops being about passion and just becomes about, well, getting through the day. Or maybe it's this one. That feeling that your real potential is just completely invisible to the people around you. You know you've got so much more to give, but it feels like nobody even sees it, let alone values it. And eventually, all of that can lead right here to total burnout. And we're not just talking about being tired. This is a deep, emotional, almost spiritual exhaustion that just leaves you feeling hollow. So if any of these voices are ringing a bell, you are definitely not alone. Covey makes this great point that what feels the most personal to us is often the most universal. This frustration, it isn't just your problem. It's a symptom of a much, much bigger issue in how we think about work itself. So what is that bigger problem, really? Well, Covey argues that we're trying to fix today's problems using yesterday's tools. We're fundamentally using the wrong approach. I mean, just how bad is it? A massive Harris survey of over 23,000 workers found that only 1 in 5 people were actually enthusiastic about their company's goals. 1 in 5. Can you imagine a soccer team where only 2 players on the field even know which goal is theirs? It's a total recipe for disaster. And this data on trust and communication, this really gets to the why. It explains why so many people are disengaged. When you've got less than 20% of your people feeling like they're in a high-trust environment with open communication, you don't just have a motivation problem. You have a systemic breakdown. Covey explains this with a fantastic analogy. For centuries, right, if you were sick, the doctors all believed the problem was bad blood. So their solution was, you guessed it, bloodletting. But no matter how good they got at it, they were working from a completely flawed assumption, a flawed paradigm. But then, germ theory was discovered, and it was a complete paradigm shift. It changed everything. Suddenly, they understood the real cause of the disease. And more importantly, they realized their old solution wasn't just useless, it was actually making things worse. The whole model was wrong. And here's the punchline for our modern pain. We are still using an old, flawed paradigm. We're trying to apply an industrial age model where people are just things you control for efficiency to our modern knowledge worker age, where what people really need is to be released, to be trusted, to be truly effective. Okay, so if control and seeing people as things is the old, broken paradigm, what's the new one? It's what Covey calls the whole person paradigm. This new model is all about stopping, seeing people as just cogs in a machine. Instead, it sees them as they actually are, whole. And Covey breaks this wholeness down into 4 key dimensions: our physical body, our creative mind, our social heart, and our spirit, which is always searching for meaning. Now, each of these dimensions has a fundamental universal need attached to it. Our body has a need to live for our physical well-being. Our mind has a need to learn and grow. Our heart has a need to love and be loved, to connect. And our spirit has a need to leave a legacy, to feel like our life matters. Real fulfillment, it only comes from honoring all 4 of these. So this whole person idea, it's the foundation, the launch pad for Covey's central idea in this book, the 8th habit, which is all about finding your voice. So what is the 8th habit? It's simple, but it's powerful. Find your unique voice and then inspire others to find theirs. And look, this isn't just another thing to add to your to-do list. This is the big shift. This is what unlocks all that passion and genius we've been talking about. So what exactly is your voice? Well, Covey defines it as this unique sweet spot. It's the intersection of 4 key things. It's where your natural talents and your deep passions overlap. But not just that, it's where they overlap in a way that serves a real need in the world. And it's all guided by your conscience, that inner voice of right and wrong. Finding that spot, that is finding your voice. Okay, but finding your own voice? That's really only half the battle. The other half completely transforms how we think about leadership. Because in this model, leadership isn't a position, it's a choice. I mean, this just flips the whole idea of leadership on its head. It's not some title you're given or a box on an org chart. It's a choice you make every single day. And that means anyone, anywhere in an organization can be a leader. All you have to do is choose to be a positive influence. And this brings us to what I think is a truly profound definition of what leadership actually is. It's not about barking orders. It's about communicating to people their worth and potential so clearly, so powerfully, that they actually start to see it in themselves. That is how you inspire others to find their voice. So we'll end with the one question this entire explainer has been leading up to. Covey says we are all born with these magnificent birth gifts, these talents and capacities that, for so many of us, just remain unopened. Finding your voice is the key that unlocks them. So the only question left is, what are you going to do with yours?